I want to talk about using stairs, the stair tool in Vectorworks 2025. Uh, and we'll also look at another stair tool, which is actually hidden, called the custom stair tool. And then we might also look at the railing tool and how that could be used with our stairs. And finally, how we could actually just custom build a set of stairs and the benefits of doing so. So in our building shell tool set here, the little brown house, we've got a tool called the stair tool. Let's just select that. And I like to place most things in top plan view. So I'm going to hit 0 on the number pad. You could also come up to the drop down on the top where we've got the views drop down. So now I can see my stairs are actually sort of connected to my cursor. So I'm going to place them over here. And like most things in Vectorworks, first click will anchor the object, and then you get the opportunity to rotate if you need to. I'm going to put them this way and just click to place that stair. Now I'm going to go on my pointer tool, so X on the keyboard to just go back to my pointer tool. Now we can see we've got this flight of stairs. If I rotate into 3D, you can see we've actually got the 3D model of those stairs. So this tool is really great if you just need to put in a flight of stairs or a circular stair, something like that. But we're going to try and do something a bit more adventurous. I need this stair to start here, avoid hitting this beam, so we need enough clearance underneath there, and to come to this beam, and that's where I want it to terminate, where the floor is above. So on the object info on the right hand side, we do have a series of buttons. Actually, I always go into the one called settings because in there we can access all parts of the stair. I click on the settings button and it will load the stair dialog, which has several tabs up the top for different aspects of what we want to adjust on our stair. Now, the first tab here, the general tab, so this is going to be dealing with our overall height value here. So how high our stairs are going to go. And then we've got tread, depth, and riser height. So the individual steps themselves. We've got figures we can plug in there. The width of the stair, and then the walk line length. So that's sort of how long that from the start to the end is going to be as the crow flies. So by default, we've got this just a basic flight of stairs. And in some instances, particularly in a residential model, then that may be good enough. But we do have some other configurations we can look at to start with. So up here where it says symbol selection, we can click there. And in our Vectorworks libraries, if we open up faults and stairs and stair types, we've then got a series of different sort of pre-configured stairs that we could use, different shaped stairs to start us off. And also then, I'm not going to pick any of those because there's also select a standard configuration. So very similar. We can come in here. So currently got a straight flight. I might want one with a landing or a double landing even. I might want one with an L shape or the O shape, circular stair. If we make any changes here, just click and then go OK. And it will give us a preview about what's going to happen there. So very quickly, you can reconfigure those stairs. And we end up with our circular staircase. I need to move that. Like so. So it's a great way of just building something which is actually quite a complicated structure. Now I'm going to go back a step, back to my straight flight here, and then have a look about what I want to do. So I'm going to go into settings, and I know that I want my overall value there, the height, to reach up to 4410. And while I'm in this dialog, if I type in this, I don't want to hit enter because that may just close the dialog down. I just sort of come to the next field and just put my cursor in there. That will actually accept that value. And you can see we've now got a lot more risers in there. Now, we have these padlocks against some of these values. So if I want this value here, the height value, not to be changed if I was to play around with, say, the riser height or the walk line length, or on the next tab across, we've got actually the number of risers. So if I say, well, I don't want 24 risers, I want 26, I'll put that in, click on another field just to accept that. And then changes will happen. But because I've got the padlock against my height value here, 4410, that hasn't altered. Now, it's quite common, particularly if you're working to building regulations, that you have specific values for tread depths, riser heights, stair widths even, that you have to oblige by. Down here, where it says use minimum and maximum values, we can go in there and just have a look what that is currently using. So if I go edit, and these are minimum values and maximum values for our tread depth and our riser height, step length, and angle as well. Now we can actually go to this drop down here and specify either commercial US, private UK stair, residential US, or actually I'm going to use this one here, general access stair UK. So this is actually working to the building regulations. So I can see that my riser height cannot go above 170 and my max tread depth cannot be more than 400. So I have to be between these figures as I'm calculating my stairs. I'm going to go OK. And then I've got my riser height there set to 170, so that's fine. I've got my height there. I've got 26 risers. I can go OK, and that looks fine to me. Now, I might want to actually just bring the stair up to that floor there. Have a look in the left-hand view. And what I often do if I'm trying to look through walls and things, I'll just change the render style from shaded to wireframe just briefly. Actually, this part here is the top that I want to marry up to this part here, the floor. Now, we do have control over how this gap here joins up to the floor, so I can actually bring that up. So that's going to match that. That's something we do in the stair dialog. And although it looks like it's gone through and beyond the floor, that again is something we can adjust in the stair dialog so that's actually correct. So this is fine, but this is a UK residential, commercial space, and we cannot go for this length of risers without a landing every 12 risers. So I'm going to have to make some changes there. So I'm going to go back into my settings. And I know I need to add landing. So I'll go back to General tab, select a standard configuration. So I'm going to hit, in fact, 26 steps. I'm going to need 2 landings, aren't I? So I'm going to go straight double landings and go OK. And you'll see it's made a change to that already. But it's also kicked off my value I had in there for the height. So I'm going to put that to 4410 again, lock that off. Now, I clicked to accept that, and we get an error correction. Now, this is very common when using the stair tool. What it's doing is saying, well, I can't make it that height based on these other things you've got specified. So it gives us options about what to do. It says we can either ignore the minimum maximum values. We can make the number of risers fit the total rise and riser height. We can change the configuration from straight to single flight run or straight single landing. So it gives me choice about what I want to do at this point. Probably this one here, make the number of risers fit would be probably best. Yeah, okay, make that adaptation. If I look on the geometry tab now, we'll see that my number of risers is actually now separated between our 3 flights. So this one here, and that one there. So we've got 9, 8, and 9. Now that will be 27 rises all told. So if this is okay, then that's fine. Let's just go okay and see what that does to our stair. We need to adjust the positioning. Back. Get that to match up to top where the floor is. And just come in a bit further. Obviously, it's got to go accommodate these 2 landings. Now I need to make sure that I've got enough coverage, headroom underneath that beam. So I might just get my tape measure into that front face, pull that down, and read off what it says. Now it says 1805. So that's a bit problematic for me. I need to have 2 meters. So somehow I've got to make that work. So possibly if I extend the length of this landing, that will push these risers forwards, and then we might get that height. So let's go back in and see if we can do that. I'm going to go to the settings. I want to change the length of this first landing, which I should be able to do here. So landing length 1, currently 1,100 millimeters. I'm going to change that to, let's try 1800. Just click there to accept that. And let's go okay and see if that has worked for us. So let's get the tape measure again. Bring that down. I'm holding in shift to make sure that doesn't go off to the side. And fair enough, we've been able to make that 2,144. So stair tools are really quite clever for doing that. But I do have another problem now, which is that I've gone too far forwards by moving that length there. So I might have to really sort of fight this to get this to fit that space. So just have another look at some of the other features for the stair tool. So we've got the general tab there, the overall sort of sizing and geometry in more detail. If we've got landings and we want to change the number of risers, sort of before and after. Then we've got 2D graphics. So this is purely for what you might see in top plan view. So we can change this for the layer it's actually sitting on, and we can have things like a break showing in the top plan view. We can also do this if it's going up to another layer. You could change how that is viewed on that layer when that is active as well. So I'm going to go OK and show you what that looks like. So if I now look from top plan view, you'll see that we get our stair here, then a break, and then above the break it's in a dashed line. So it's up to you how you want to display that. Now, construction here, we did talk about how it joins the floor above and below. We've got some different types of stair that we can use here, different types of construction. So you can just tick these on to change that instantly. We've got some, adjust the landing thicknesses if we need. But these 2 buttons are the ones I normally come into. So the upper floor connection detail here. And it's this figure here, which we might want to change. Now, I didn't measure what that was. If you want to, you can just put that to 0. And I might come to the lower floor connection detail and put this one here to 0 as well, and then it won't go underneath our floor. So this is more for your BIM concerns. If you're an interior designer, then probably that's not much of a concern for you. But if you're an architect, then obviously you would want to spend some time making sure the connection between the floor and the stair is correct. If I look from the left again, you can see that now it doesn't go below the floor, it just sits tidily on the floor there, and we've removed that part there, which was coming down and then sort of diamonding off like so. But finally, let's just have a look at what we can do with the railings. So you can affect the railings on both sides together, or you can untick here, and then you can make changes to one or the other side of the railings. And we can show a handrail if we want to. We can show the handrail on the left railing. And then you can click down through all of these and change the settings as you need. There's also the guardrail, and we can change things like the frame as well. So it could be a panel or it could be a frame. So we might have things like so, top and bottom. And we've got frame bars if we want to. We can create horizontal, vertical. You can change the thicknesses and shapes as well. There is a certain amount of control over how that happens, and also the distance between each of these posts. We can do that on each tread or a distance that we specify. And now I might come to the right hand side and actually just where it says guardrail show, just untick that. And you'll notice this preview here that guardrail has gone completely. So we can make changes like so. So if we do, let's have a look back in shaded view. So we can see that this is a really quite a swift way of building a set of stairs with a railing. However, sometimes it does fight you, and it might be nice if you had a sort of an L shape and then the double landing. There isn't a way to do that I found with the stair tool. I'm just briefly going to talk about how we would texture the stairs, and then we'll move on to a stair tool that is a bit more flexible. So in the settings, the last tab up here is the graphic attributes, and you'll see we've got the 2D attributes up here. So that's anything we're going to see in top plan view. So we can change things like the fill, the pen, the line width, weight, the opacity, and this last column here is for texturing. So you'll see that's for our 3D parts of the stair. So we can open up things like the treads, and they have top edges and bottom. Rises also have like a front face, edges and back face. Unfortunately, we do need to select one at a time, and then over here where it says none, just double click there, and then we could specify a material, a fill color, or which is most common, come into a texture, and just click in there, and then we can pick from any of our default Vectorworks textures or any that might be sitting in our file here, like these ones. I might just pick that concrete texture there and go OK. And you can do that across all of these different parts to get this texture. Because it's a parametric tool, we can't use things like the texture tool there or the render tab just to apply textures. We have to come into this dialog and do it this way. So I'm going to delete this stair here, and we need to, but we might want to use a more flexible stair tool, depending on our needs. Now, you won't find it in the building shell toolset. In fact, it's hidden away, and we need to load it into that toolset. Easiest way to do that is to come up to these three lines here, the little menu on our tool sets, and go click and customize. So this is our workspace editor. We can actually adapt our workspace for however we want that to be. On the right here, I've got the building shell toolset tools, and there's my stair tool there. So I need to find one, a tool called the custom stair tool. I'm going to click to open up all tools there, and then to get to it quickly, just type CUS and then just scroll down a couple of positions, and there it is, custom stair tool. So what I can do is here is just click and drag that across, and wherever I place this is where it will appear in the tool set. Now I can sort of put it here just underneath the stair tool, and it will be its own tool in the tool set, or I can come this side and collapse it within the stair tool itself. So I might do that actually. So this is now going to be an option on the stair tool. Go OK, and it just tells us we're going to make a change to that workspace. So go OK while it reconfigures. Now on the stair tool here, you'll see we've got this tiny little triangle on the bottom right. If I click and hold, I get the options to pick between these two tools. So I'm going to go for custom stair. And again, I'm probably going to go into top plan view to place that. The reason I do that is that I know then I'm going to be placing this at level 0 on whatever design layer I have got active. I click, and again, first click anchors, second one gives you rotation if you need it. So second click to place that in. Now this is using probably the last custom configuration I had. Let's have a look at that. So we've got a nice L-shaped starting here, small set of rises, platform, another set, and a landing as well. So I wasn't able to get that from the standard stair tool. And then we've got another set of rises up there. So let's have a look from left hand side. I'm going to switch this to wireframe. Move this to where I want that to finish, which is just there. And let's measure what our distance is here for our headroom. So it's not quite high enough. Got 1805. I need it to be 2000. So let's go into the settings. Now we do have some of the settings available on the object info. But as with a lot of these parametric tools, I like to go into the settings button and launch the full dialog. Again, similar to the stair tool, we've got several tabs here. General, we can plug in some details. Flights and platforms, how we see, this is similar to the 2D, what we're going to see in top plan view. Instructions, so we can choose from different types of material. And sort of nosing depth and things like that. It's not got as much detail as the standard stair tool, but it does have its advantages. And we can also put handrails on. Can do that handrail or guardrail settings. So there's some control here. Now let's go back to general, and I'm going to specify my height. In fact, it has remembered my height. I could either do that by layer elevations, but actually I want this height to be in there. I've got tread depth of 280 and a maximum riser height of 170, which I need. Just under that though, you'll see it says actual riser height. So it's actually done the calculation. It said, well, we can't go above that, but to get this to work properly with an even number of risers and be within our range, so made it 169.62. Now you're not going to get the same problems of it trying to change figures when you change one of these. It seems to be a lot more friendly as far as that's concerned. So the real strength of it is on the flights and platforms, and you'll see this one marked in red. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different parts of the stair here, and we can use the next and previous buttons to go between each one and make changes. So my first little small flight here has got 3 risers or 3 treads. That's the width. We can put the rail on either side, and in this instance, rather if we make any changes, so I put that up to 4, rather than just go to another field like that, that won't do anything. Just use the apply button down here. It will make that change for you. I'm going to put that back to 3. Just going to apply. So I might need to move this landing backwards slightly. So I'm going to go to next and next. So it's currently got a number of treads, 8. I can come in here and change that to, let's try 7, and then just go apply and OK. And we see that's moved that landing back, and in doing so, that's probably giving us a bit more headroom underneath that beam. In fact, it hasn't, but we're on the landing, so perhaps if we now move the landing back again, it's going to go lower. Let's go settings. In fact, I'm going to put this to 5 and just apply. And you'll notice that it's changed the number of risers here. It's also changed the number of risers there, and we're not getting any error messages, which is really nice. Okay. Now I think I'll be quite happy that I can get my 2000. In fact, I've got 2144, so that's perfect. I've got the headroom that I need there. Now, if I go into settings, we can actually build as many parts of this stair as we want to. So say, for example, we go next and next. I'm going to remove, actually, I'm going to add after this a different part of the stair just to show what we can do. Go add after, and then I got the choice of a straight or a curved flight of stairs. I can do a winder with the left or U shape or skewed, and I could do another platform, so like a landing, straight, curved, as we would want. Any of these options we can do. So let's go. Actually, I'll do a platform. No, I'll do a curved platform, and it'll add that on for us like so. So now if I go back to next, previous, to this one here, I might change the number of treads. Put that down to 11 because I know I can't go above 12, and apply that. And then I go to next. I can make changes to this platform here. So the length here is how it's being described, and it's got an outer radius. So that's going to make a difference to how curved that side is. You can also go angle. So it might be that you want a specific angle. We go to 90 and apply that. Obviously, that then takes us around 90 degrees. If that's a bit too big, then obviously the outside radius here will make a big difference. So if I go 1500 and apply that, then I can make that a nice sort of tight sort of angle like that. And if that's going the wrong way, I can just tick counterclockwise and apply like so. So you can have as many parts of this stair as you want, as many landings, turns, and rises. It's very flexible in that fashion. Now I'm just going to have a look at the top plan and drag this across to one side. So you can add the railings from that tool, or there is actually a railing tool built in to the building shell tool set. And I'd just like to show some of the properties of that which you may find useful. So select that. As with a lot of tools, we've got lots of options across the top here. So we can do a picked mode. That doesn't work on the custom stair, at least I don't think it does. We can do vertex mode. So I can choose a different line type if I want, and just sort of click, it changes of angle, double click at the end, and it will build me a serviceable railing. Now, for our stairs, we actually want to go up the stairs. There is another mode to the railing tool, which is really useful. So if I click on this option here, gravity mode, then I can come to my stairs and start to place the railing. So wherever I'm putting a click, I'm going to get a post, I think. And Just going all the way up to the top. Yeah. Follow that round as best I can to begin with. We go beyond that actually. Click there. Double click to place that. So on top plan, it just looks like it did when I drew it with the vertex mode. But if I rotate it to 3D, you'll see that it's actually placed all those at the height of the stair. Let's go into shaded, see that a bit better. And my last one here, obviously, I clicked in mid-air and it just went straight down to the ground. But that's not a problem. We can select our railing now. And if we go on the reshape button, the basic toolset, we've got various things we can do with our railing. Now you'll notice at the bottom of each of these posts, we've got a blue vertex, so we can add vertexes, add more posts in, or delete them. We can move them along, and we can move them up vertically. So if I select this and grab that little blue vertex down there and just bring that up until that's the right height. Now I can actually just snap to the last one, so it'll be in line with that. So you could spend some time actually adapting in top plan view. Our reshape tools go back to the normal kind of reshape tools. So we can add different line types. We can change the vertex type. So if I come to this corner here and I wanted it to be more of a curve, then if I select something like the Bezier control point mode, hover over there and click, it's going to give me a nice curve. So go back to the first option, the reshape. I can get that and move that around. Now I'm going to disable snapping while I do this, so I get a nice smooth sort of action. There's quite a lot of possibilities with that tool. Very useful for building custom railings. So often I would suggest use the stair tool by all means. If you want to use the railing built in, then do, but you can also use this one, which may give you a bit more control about where you're placing things and how you're making that look. So finally, I just wanted to show a simple customized way of building stairs and how you might find that advantageous. So I'm going to get a rectangle in top plan view. I'm going to mark out rectangle. I could have plugged in the figures, but I often find it easy just to come to the object info afterwards. Let's make this a 1 meter wide stair, and my tread depth I'm going to make 250. Okay. Now I'm going to extrude that, so I can do that with Control E to bring up the extrude dialog, and I'm going to make my riser height at 170. Okay. Now at this point, with that first step selected, I'm going to go to modify and create symbol. Now I can call this my step. Let's look on. And I'm just going to go OK and accept all of these defaults. And yes, I'm going to go in that file. So I've got my first step there. What I might do is actually just remove some of these objects so you can actually spin around and see that nothing in the way. Now, to make a flight of stairs, this can be really quite swift. So I'm going to get, I often go into an orthogonal view. You don't actually have to if you've got somewhere to snap to. In fact, we could do this in a 3D view. To duplicate loads of steps after this, I'm going to go to the Move by Points tool. There are other ways of doing this. You could do this with a duplicate array. And I'm going to get on the second option here, though, on the Move by Points tool. I'm going to make sure this option is ticked on so I don't lose my original step. And then I choose how many duplicates I want. So let's get that. Put 6 in there, so we're going to end up with 7 steps. Now, where I click here on this step is important because that's where I'm going to move it for the next step, which will make sense if I come to this bottom corner, click, and then you'll see those blue previews about where they're going to go. Now, if I snap to that corner there and click, very quickly, I've been able to build a flight of stairs. Now, the benefit of making this a symbol, so if we were to look in our resource manager, so Control R on PC or Command R on a Mac, bring up the resource manager, and there's my step there. It is a 2D, 3D symbol. I can go right click, edit 3D component. And now I could make changes to this and it would actually affect all of the other steps all in one go. So I'm going to get my set the working plane to this front edge and get a rectangle. Just draw out a nosing here. I'm not paying much attention to the sizing. I'm just doing this to demonstrate. And let's just pull that out. Holding that symbol on the PC or the backward key on the Mac to disable snapping. Click to place that in like so. And if I just exit that symbol, you'll see that now we've got that nosing on all of our steps in one go. Now, I don't need to go into the resource manager to edit this. I can pick any of these ones and just right click on it and go edit 3D components and edit it in place so I can see where the other steps are. If I want to make any other changes, I can do that. But quite nice to select nosing and the step and right click and go add solids. So you lose that line between them. And then you could add other details in on this step. Perhaps we could round off these edges. So with the fillet edge tool, just select that edge, set to 30, that might work, it might not, and just hit the tick. You get a nice rounded edge there. We can try it on that edge as well. It's on the edge of the nosing. Swing around and do the other side. Like so. Then you can put more detail on the stair itself. We can also texture this step. So I'm going to go to the render tab and just click where it says by class and pick a wooden flooring here. Got built in already. Go select. Probably going to change the mapping type to auto align plane. That usually makes a bit more sense than surface UV. And you can scale it there or whatever. I just exit that. And we've got ourselves a nice little flight of wooden steps. Now, it does look a bit strange that we've got this sort of right angle there and we've got nothing here. It might be nice to fill in this gap as though we sort of made a nice solid stair. So we can do that again just by going edit 3D components. And then I might go into a left-hand view. Sometimes we have to zoom out and then in. And what I'm going to do is build a shape that's going to link this together and fill in that gap. So again, I'm going to get the set working plane tool. You could use the auto align plane to do this, but I find setting the working plane specifically is a much safer way of doing that. Now I'm going to get the 2D polygon, the basic tool set, and just click and draw a triangle like so. Let's go back to my pointer, and so I've got that triangle shape there. All I need to do now is just push pull that. So I get the push pull tool, from the 3D modeling toolset, just push all that down and snap to the other side. And then we can texture. In fact, we don't need to texture that. If we hold Shift to select both parts of the step, right click and add solids, that will do that all for us. Then we can just exit the symbol, and we've got a nice, attractive wooden flight of stairs.